In our quest for better hospice care than Alaska can provide, we've packed up and we're heading back to New York.
Hi, Hannah. You ready?
Let's go.
Come on. Somebody's ready for a ride.
I know I'm not. I can't believe I'm leaving with just 4 bins of sweaters and a guitar and some art supplies.
Hi, Murph. You ready?
I moved in just 18 months ago, and just a week ago, they finally finished the carport.
Good job, Murph.
We know this is probably a one-way trip, and I know that this is absolute torture for Tim. It's not just saying goodbye to this place that we built together and a life that we dreamt of, but I think he feels like a chauffeur driving his wife to her death. Haines put on the most beautiful show. It was almost harder to leave because the sun was out and the mountains looked perfect. The water was like glass, and the surf scoters started migrating and they were covering the surface of the water. And it just felt like my heart was being ripped out. But at the same time, my friend Vanessa said it perfectly, like it was an expansion. I'm taking Haines with me and making it bigger than it is by bringing it everywhere I go, and that my heart was doing the same thing. My heart felt like it was expanding to the point where it was stretching beyond its capacity, and that was painful, but I was leaving with it bigger. I'm so grateful for the way Haines has shaped me and for the people who I've come to love. And just when we thought the goodbyes were over, we had one more to say.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Love you too. Mwah. Have the best trip back ever.
Well, this was the first time we were driving across the country in the same vehicle, and we planned fun side trips through Yellowstone and Devil's Tower. It became really evident that this was not going to be a lot of fun and games. As my friend Liz said, it's not a surprise that grief is a passenger on this journey. But as we passed the 33-mile roadhouse, it became so obvious to me that it wouldn't feel like leaving home just yet. Once we crossed the Canadian border and Haines was in our rear view, so many memories came flooding back. I had had so many incredible experiences on this track all the way to Haines Junction. My favorite memory of Three Guardsman Mountain was laying with my friend Dina on a mattress of moss on the tundra and looking up at the blue skies and watching the puffy clouds go by. I've also been berry picking here with my friend Kathleen. Oh my gosh, my favorite memory of us on Ptarmigan Hill. We came up to birdwatch in the winter and all the ptarmigan were running around saying, "Go back, go back, go back." Back when Dina and I were photography guides, we came up on our day off and it was probably 75 degrees down in Haines. And by the time we got up here, we caught ourselves in a blizzard. We tried so many times to get pictures of ground squirrels in Ground Squirrel Alley. I don't think I can show you one because I don't think I ever got one. And how many times did we stop between British Columbia and the Yukon Territory to take pictures at the famous sign, both the old version and the new? I'm pretty sure we brought every New York friend who's ever come to visit us. Our next stop was off in Million Dollar Falls, which is the end point of July's Chinook salmon run. It was named for a 1940s Army maintenance camp, rumored to cost $1 million to build back in the day, but was never used. Not far away, Kathleen and I once toured the Tlingit village of Cluckshoe, where seasonally they'll catch and smoke fish. When she taught me that the sockeye salmon swim over 1,000 miles to get there, I was absolutely obsessed with their tenacity. These fish are so beautiful and so sacred. When Dina and I visited one July, we were chased by so many mosquitoes. We had to run in the car and close the door, and they were hitting the windows. They were coming after us so hard. There were places along the pass where the colors were starting to change, and it brought back memories of walking with Kathleen and her dogs Rusty and Cedar. just devouring the colors with our eyes on this incredible landscape. When it was time to feed the dogs, we stopped at Desdiash Lake. My first time here, the most glorious rainbow spanned the entire lake, and I was trying to capture it by laying on the road to take the photograph. It felt good to be out of the vehicle, but Hannah clearly didn't like what she was sensing. Typically, she does this when it's bare. She caught a whiff of something. So Tim prepared something that Hannah and Murphy would like a little bit better. On our after-dinner walk, Hannah led me to the trailhead for Rock Glacier. We were last here with our friend Jenny, and we followed the boardwalk over glacial streams and marshlands, up treaded stairs. And just as it sounds, a rock glacier is made up of rock rather than ice. If enough rock continues to pile up due to avalanches or erosion, rock can start flowing up to a few inches a year. This particular rock glacier has ceased to move, making it a safe place to hike, but also offering a beautiful bird's eye view of Desdiash Lake. I was really grateful that Hannah led me to this memory. And before we headed out on the road, we ducked into this little glade where the sun shines through the red of the fireweed leaves, and I just love it so much. So I was glad to revisit it one more time. Leaving Desdiash Lake, we hit the turnoff for Kathleen Lake, where last year my friend Kathleen and I sat as she was sketching the mountains and her dog was rolling around on the pebble beach.
I just want to roll and be part of the earth and the world.
When Dina and I last drove through here, we saw something skittering across the road, and we both looked at each other and swore up and down that it was a wolverine. I'm so positive it was. Descending into Haines Junction, this place has so many memories. One of our favorite destinations was the Village Bakery, which I came to with so many friends, but it was seasonally closed when we came through this time. This is such a quirky little town. They have a church established in a Quonset hut. The community sculpture is supposed to commemorate a mountain and all the wildlife that lives within it, and it looks like a giant cupcake to me. But I'm not the only one who thinks it looks like a baked good, and they actually embrace that. Ultimately, I think the idea at its inception was probably a good one. And generally speaking, Haines Junction is where my friends and I would often turn around or stay the night and go back to see all those gorgeous sights that we just saw in reverse. I'll never forget seeing these signs when we came through with our moving van in July of 2024. But this time, we were turning the opposite direction. And this was the point where things stopped feeling like home. It's also the point where my saddest journey began last October when my cat and I got caught in a snowstorm and he became ill. We think he drank some glycol from our heating system after a nail was shot through one of the tubes. Since Haines has no vet, I contacted the rescue to see if they had a bag of saline and needles and a line that I could use. And I had to learn on YouTube how to keep my cat alive the next 4 days. When the weather broke, my friend drove him 4 hours to the nearest vet, and it looked like he could come home. So as I drove to meet him, at about this point, a hawk nearly flew into my windshield. It looked right at me before it almost hit and veered up. And I swear, I noted the time because I kept feeling like the light was slipping and I thought my cat was slipping away from life with it. And when I got to the vet and I walked in the door that was not the main door, there was a framed image of this exact hawk in a vet's office that only treats dogs, cats, and maybe horses. The vet told me that Jed almost passed before I got there and that she told him he better rally because I was on my way. And I asked her what time that was. She had texted her vet tech at that time, and it was 5:23, and that was the time I noted when I saw that bird. I think he nearly left his body, and then returned so that he could be there for Tim and I while we thought we were being there for him. Aside from the part about Jed, it was so fun recounting these memories with Tim as we were driving through and snacking. But then we got to Whitehorse, and I just had this really weird reaction. Like, every time I tried to take a photograph or a video out the window, there was always some kind of man-made junk in the way, and it just made my heart heavy. I really, really missed having wide open spaces and nothing like street lamps or street signs in the way. And it was stupid, but it's just one of those things that struck me. As the day wound down and the light was softening, it was just so gorgeous. In the front view, in the rear view, it didn't matter where you looked. Everything was soft light except for that beautiful orange glow where the sun was setting. And just then, there was a semi who cut us off. So we pulled over to kind of gather our nerves, and it couldn't have been more perfect timing. I mean, we got to dance in front of the sunset, and we looked across the water at this peak where we saw this little glint. We thought it was a snow-capped mountain, and it was the rising of the moon. How beautiful is that? It felt like the universe was pulling out all the stops to kind of ease our weary souls at the end of a very long and very, very emotional day.